your close reader. We are on pages 26 and 27, and today we're reading about a dinosaur named Sue, and this is a journal about a summer dig that a paleontologist did in the Badlands National Park in South Dakota. So it's written, a journal is very similar to a diary, so written in the same kind of format in that you're kind of writing it like a letter to remind yourself, though not to somebody else, but to remind yourself about the things that you saw and the things that you experienced. So here is A Dinosaur Named Sue, a journal about my summer dig.
Extended Read 2. Remember to annotate as you read.
A Dinosaur Named Sue, a journal about my summer dig, by Terry Patterson. August 11th, 1990. Tomorrow is the last day of the dig. I can't believe I've been in South Dakota for 10 weeks. It's been a long, hot, but great summer. We dug up many dinosaur bones. Some are more than 60 million years old. I'll have a lot to tell everyone back at school.
Badlands National Park in South Dakota.
Okay, so let's pause there. In a format like this, it's always good to think about just each journal entry at a time and make sure that you can do a quick summary or at least pick out the key details from that passage. So this is the first day that she's writing about, August 11th, 1990. And if we look through that and find some key details, one would be that tomorrow's the last day of the dig. That tells us when, so that's an important detail. And another one is that she's been in South Dakota for 10 weeks. That's also where, right? South Dakota. And she said it's been a long, hot, but great summer, and they dug up dinosaur bones. Okay, that's definitely a key detail. Will you please underline those things that I underlined? So if we were to go back and summarize, we would say, it's the last day of the dig. She's been in South Dakota for 10 weeks and dug up many dinosaur bones. So let's look now at August 12th and see, this is the next day. Let's see how the last day went.
August 12th, 1990. What a day! Our truck had a low tire. Pete Lorson and I went into town to get it fixed. Sue Hendrickson stayed behind. She wanted to look for bones in one more place before we go home. Sue was so excited when she came back to camp. She found some huge bones sticking out of a cliff. They were too big to be anything but a dinosaur. Sue knew they were from a meat eater. In this part of the world, it could only be a T-Rex.
We are here.
Okay, so they decided to go to one more place before they went home. Okay, and when she was there, she found some bones sticking out of a cliff, and she knew that they were from a T-Rex, a meat eater. Wow, that's an exciting day, isn't it? So the map up here shows us this is where they were digging when they found the T-Rex bones. We're right here in Kansas, so not too far from where they found T-Rex bones. Let's look at the next journal entry. Oh, sorry, this is still part of the other one. Let's keep going.
Sue brought back 2 pieces of bone to show Pete. He agreed that they were T-Rex bones. We left right away to see where they came from. When we got there, we couldn't believe our eyes. The ground below the cliff was covered with pieces of bone. More than 10 bones stuck out of the cliff. Pete thought that a whole skeleton might be buried there. He named the dinosaur Sue after the person who found it. We only have one problem right now. The bones are under almost 30 feet of dirt and rock. It's going to take a lot of hard work to remove it. Pete, Sue, and I have a big job ahead of us. I guess we are not going home yet.
Sue found these bones sticking out of a cliff.
All right, so now we're at the end of that, what was supposed to be their last day there. And it says that Sue brought back 2 pieces of bone, and he agreed they were T-Rex bones, so they left to go check them out, and they couldn't believe their eyes because the cliff was covered with pieces of bone. And Pete thinks that there may be a whole skeleton buried there. So they named the dinosaur Sue after the person who found it. And now they've got a problem that they need to solve. The bones are under almost 30 feet of dirt and rock. So it's going to take a long time to get all those bones out of the dirt and rocks. And so then they say they're not going home yet, right? So they were heading home, and then at the last minute they've decided to stay so that they can uncover these bones. Let's find out what happens on August 14th.
August 14th, 1990. Early this morning, we got started digging up the T-Rex. We couldn't use a big machine to move the rock and dirt. A machine might break or crush the fossils, so we did all the work by hand. Metal bars helped us pull away large rocks. We used picks to break up smaller rocks and shovels to move dirt. The sun beat down on us all day, but we hardly noticed. We just kept thinking about the T-Rex. We wondered how much of its skeleton we would find. We hoped it would be in good shape.
Sue used tools to carefully remove rocks and dirt from the fossils.
Okay, so let's go ahead and look at this paragraph. It says that they couldn't use a big machine. And remember, they're trying to dig about 30 feet, right? So that's a long way to go without using a big machine. But the reason they can't is the machine might break or crush the fossils. So they're going to do all the work by hand instead. And then some of this is just some extra details. It talks about the sun beating down, kept thinking about the T-Rex, what they were wondering. That stuff's not as important, but it does tell us that they used metal bars to pull away large rocks and picks to break up smaller rocks and shovels to move dirt. So that kind of tells us the tools that they were able to use to help them uncover the bones.
August 18th, 1990. Our hard work over the past few days finally paid off. Today we got down to the fossils. Then we had to be even more careful. We used small hand tools to remove the dirt and rock around the bones. August.
Okay, so that was all she wrote for that one because it was a big day. I bet they were tired, right? So they got to the fossils, dug 30 feet, and then they used small hand tools to remove the dirt and rock around the bones so that they could very carefully take them out. Let's see, this is a couple days later. We were at August 18th. Now we're at August 21st. Let's see what they do now.
21st, 1990. While we worked, Pete told us about other T-Rex fossils that people have found. Some finds were just a few bones. No known T-Rexes have even half their bones, but it looks as though Sue found almost a whole skeleton. This is an important discovery. It will help scientists learn so much about T-Rex. The skeleton will also make an amazing museum display.
Digging out bones is a hard and dirty job.
Okay, so again, some information that is interesting but not really super important, not a key detail. Pete's talking about other T-Rex fossils. Some finds were just a few bones. Sue found almost a whole skeleton, though. That's an important fact, right? That's important to this part of the story. And it's important because it'll help scientists learn so much about the T-Rex. And also it'll make a good display, but more importantly, they'll be able to learn about the T-Rex. So let's find out what happens on August 23rd. You should be following along in your close reader and annotating as well.
August 23rd, 1990. Pete dug out the skull today. It's almost 5 feet long. He thinks that this T-Rex was a giant. Its bones are bigger than any T-Rex he has seen. These bones are in great shape, too. Most fossil bones are chipped, broken, or crushed. We took pictures as we worked. It's important to record the positions of the bones. That information will help scientists who study these fossils later. We also found fossils of plants and other dinosaurs. These finds will help us learn more about life long ago.
Pete removed rocks and dirt from Sue's skull.
Okay, so remember one of our strategies was asking questions. And one question I'm wondering is that they said that it's important to record the positions of the bones. And I'm wondering why that is. So part of me is thinking that they must want to know the positions so that they can figure out approximately where the bones actually were in the dinosaur, since they've never seen one alive. They're kind of guessing, right? So that would help to kind of nail down where they're actually supposed to be found. And then I'm also wondering, it said we found fossils of plants and other dinosaurs. And I'm wondering, fossils of plants, I know fossils in terms of the bones of dinosaurs, but fossils of plants, I'm thinking that must mean that the plant has an imprint on the soil and stuff that they were finding. So that's what I'm guessing from that, but I'm going to underline that because those questions are something that I want to come back to. But these finds will help them learn more about life long ago. I did want to go back up here, though, now that I asked those questions. I want to point out that the skull was almost 5 feet long. So I'm just barely over 5 feet, and its head was about the height of me. That's crazy to think about, right? To visualize. And it says that Sue's bones were bigger than any T-Rex and in good shape too. Most fossil bones are super chipped, broken, or crushed, right? They've had a lot of life go on over the top of them, all kinds of weather and stuff. But these were in good shape, so that was probably super exciting for these paleontologists as they were digging. Okay.
Skull, skull, skull.
August 29th, 1990. As we dug up bones today, we left some rock around them. The rock will protect the bones on their way to the lab. When they get there, we'll remove the rock. Weak bones get special care. They get a thin coat of glue and layers of tinfoil. Then we wrap them in a plaster cast. Sometimes we add pieces of wood for extra strength. September 1st, 1990. We left the dig today. It took 17 days to dig Sue out of the ground. All the bones are finally on their way to the lab. It will take a long time to clean up the skeleton. My summer was longer and more amazing than I expected. I'm sad it is over, but I'll be happy to sleep in a real bed again.
A plaster cast helps protect this bone during the trip to the lab.
All right, so a couple of different entries on this page. August 29th says that they left some rock around the bones to protect them on their way to the lab. So I'm thinking there's probably not a lot of easy ways to transfer these bones to the lab from where they found them. And so that's one of their strategies for keeping them in one place, is to kind of keep the stuff around it to hold it all together. And then this was really interesting, that they said some weak bones get a thin coat of glue and layers of tinfoil. I did not know that. And then they wrap them in a plaster cast, and they might add pieces of wood for extra strength. So if you think about it, these bones have been in the earth for a really long time, right? So they're probably very, 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 very fragile. And so these scientists have had to figure out ways to really make them stronger so that they can be up like this picture here that we see. If some of those bones are super fragile, they've got to find a way to make them stronger so that it can be displayed and we can learn from them. And then here it said it took 17 days to dig Sue out of the ground. And then it says it'll take a long time to clean it up. So they won't be able to put it right up into the museum, right? It's going to take some time. And then they say they're happy to sleep in a real bed again. That makes me think that they must have been sleeping in not so great conditions when they were out in the field trying to get the fossils uncovered. So we're finishing up now on May 17th, which was, and this is 2000, May 17th, 2000. So remember back here, we were September 1st, 1990. So it's been about almost 10 years, okay? And we're going to learn about Sue and how she ended up.
May 17th, 2000. This journal has been in a box for almost 10 years since my summer with the two Sues. I pulled it out tonight to add one last entry. I saw both Sues again today. The T-Rex is now on display in Chicago. Pete, Sue, and I are happy that Sue has a place of honor. Scientists can keep studying the bones, and people from around the world can visit the largest and most complete T-Rex ever found.
Sue is a big attraction in the Field Museum's Hall of Dinosaurs. Sue is 40.5 feet long. Experts think this dino might have weighed 15,000 pounds. The bones alone weigh 3,922 pounds.
Okay, so here's the cool thing about a journal. This person that was keeping the journal during this experience put it away for 10 years, but then they got it back out and they were able to read back through all their entries about what life was like when they were uncovering things. So even though they were there at the time, they lived it, they're a primary source, it's, our brain can't keep all of that, all of those memories. It can't keep all of our information in there. It's got to make room for more current information. But when you journal something, when you write something down like this, then you can go back and read it, and it'll really bring you back to that place and help reactivate those files in your brain about that time. And so it's a really cool way to remember what's happened in your past. But this is how it turned out. So remember, it said it would take a long time to get the skeleton all cleaned up. I'm not sure if it took a full 10 years to do that, but it's 10 years that this person goes back to see Sue, the real Sue, and Sue the dinosaur. And Sue is now in display in Chicago. And so scientists can keep studying, and people can come visit the largest and most complete T-Rex ever found. Okay, I want to talk to you about a couple of things. One is that there are different shades of adjectives. We've talked about this before. Remember, an adjective is a describing word. It describes a noun. So for example, down here it says Sue is a big attraction. So big is our adjective. It describes the attraction. Now in this case, big can mean a couple of things. One, big could mean actual size, big. But it also could mean it's a popular attraction in the Field Museum's Hall of Dinosaurs, right? Kind of mean either thing there. But we could use different words here to help really bring that alive. This is the largest and most complete T-Rex ever found. It's 15,000 pounds. I don't know that big is a strong enough word to truly describe what that attraction is like. So they could have used huge, right? They could have used, like I said, popular. They could have used gigantic, right? There's a lot of other words that maybe would have been a better fit there instead of just big. But that's a adjective that we could change a little bit. Let's look and see if we can find another one. Here they use the word amazing. The skeleton will also make an amazing museum display. So they're describing the museum display. They say that it's going to be amazing. Again, there's lots of other adjectives that they could use. They could say that it's going to be an awesome museum display. They could say that it's going to make a wonderful museum display or something along those lines. So we could change amazing to make it even more descriptive if we wanted to. So I'm going to give you a couple of those words, and I want you to think of some synonyms that are kind of on a scale, right? So we have like big, giant, huge, right? All mean the same thing but different shades of that meaning. Same thing with amazing. We could say good, great, amazing, wonderful, right? All kind of mean the same or similar things, but in different at a different capacity. So I'm going to give you a couple of those to practice on as well. All right, great job today.